Good time zone cats and kittens. You're listening to Harmonize, the podcast for the working streamer looking to balance work, Twitch, and everything in between. I totally messed up that intro, but today it honestly doesn't matter because we're talking about a heck of a lot of balance. I'm your host, KiittyPls, and we're going to be chatting with Reynic today. Um, Reynic is a content creator. He's a father. He is a musician. He's a streamer and a full-time career man. Um, and our conversations today kind of get all over the place, but in the best sort of way possible. We focus a lot on how somebody's life who is as chaotic as Reynic still works with streaming as long as you put the time and the effort and the thought process into balancing what you're doing. So without further ado, let's just dive right into that. All right, Reynic, so to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you found your way to Twitch.
Well, for work, I am a IT security analyst, I think is what the official title is. It's basically I work for a staffing company
Mm-hmm.
and I basically make sure they have access to their email, access to things to do their job. We set up staff supervisors, basically people in the field who do the interviews and fill the jobs and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And we're kind of their IT at not a help desk,
Yeah.
but just a at making sure that they can do their actual work.
Gotcha. And
Um,
did you always want to do that? Like, or did you find your way
no,
to that?
no, this I just sort of stumbled into this when I went to school for it was a management information systems degree, so it was kind of half computers, half business,
Mm-hmm.
half management. I know that's three halves, but it's
It's okay. We don't do math here. It's fine.
when I went to school, I was going to be a band director. So
Stop.
I
You'd
I
be
uh,
so amazing at that.
I've been playing music since I was 8. So I was very heavy into music all the way through my 3rd year in college when I transferred to my 4-year school. Um, I had to make choices at that point between business classes and music classes.
Mm-hmm.
And my last year at local community college kind of uh, bad stuff with the music there, just bad experiences with the band and bad experiences just with me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take certain things well,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of got away from the music a little bit and went more in the direction of the business. But um no, I didn't necessarily expect I knew I'd end up with something in IT and something with computers, but not necessarily this.
I love that I can hear the hustle and bustle of your
You
house
like
in the
it?
background. I do.
Yeah, already tonight I've had an out the front. Well, it's garbage morning tomorrow, so
So people listening, Reynic is a husband and also a father.
yep,
And it is getting ready for bedtime now. So
yep,
I think that's adorable. I think that's
yep.
awesome. Do you guys have a set routine at night?
Yeah. So I have a 9-year-old son. He usually goes to bed around 8, around 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a daughter who will turn 12 about a week before Christmas.
Oh, the joy of 12.
Oh boy, I she is 11 going on 19.
Yo.
And she usually goes to bed about 9:30, but it kind of depends a little bit on the night.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz like let's say they have nightly chores, one of the chores is maybe they have to do dishes. But if dad's streaming that night, they can't do dishes after 6:45 because it's too loud for the stream. Things like
Ah.
that. So, between trying to manage a stream schedule, between trying to manage all of our non-stream stuff, uh, routine isn't no. I don't know that I'd call almost anything we're doing routine. Um, but we most of the time it's less routine, more hang on by our fingernails.
I mean, you're making it work right now. That's what
That's
counts,
all we
right?
can do sometimes.
So, speaking of stream, you talked a little bit about how you got into your profession. How did you find Twitch? Were you a Justin like TV like OG person, or did you
No, no,
kind of
no.
find it a little later on?
I started streaming actually just over 2 years ago. It was October of 2018.
Oh,
Um, I have I've been doing computer games since, oh, we're gonna date it here. I love it.
uh-oh. Here we
Uh,
go.
yep, EverQuest in 1999 was my first PC game. My college roommate introduced me to that, and I met a couple of people there that I have been playing games with for these past 20 years.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and I would say for about, man, we joked a long time. There was primarily myself, Delthanor, and Vanner. The three of us would play just loads of games together. And I would say ever since probably 2017, we always used to joke about one of us getting into streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I would occasionally watch streams. Like I'd watch some Day 9 streams. I would watch Smite streams. Funny enough, I
Yes.
would watch off the official Smite channel. I would watch um I used to watch Chixie streams a lot. I used
Mm-hmm.
to watch they would rotate who they had there. I used to watch League of Legends streams,
Oh,
just
like
the
through the Riot
esports.
account.
Yeah, I don't play League of Legends.
Yeah, but it's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. So I would watch on occasion. I wouldn't consider myself a heavy Twitch viewer, but I had a few people that I enjoyed watching. And so I'd say about a year before I finally started, we always talked about how it would be, we think we're funny, we think we're entertaining. I wonder if anybody else out there would think we're funny and entertaining. And it was always just kind of a side gag for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Is just, yeah, that'd be fun, whatever. And right around 2018 is when we kind of, it started getting a little bit of legs with me because, my wife played football. She played tackle football for 15 years.
No kidding.
And oh yeah, full gear, full pad, full everything. And um it was always a really really cool thing to be with, to support her, to be there and be around everything that she was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and to be her number one cheerleader and all that.
Oh.
But as her career kind of started winding down, we started talking about, we've been doing this for her for 15 years now. What, is there something that I wanted to try to do before, not, I don't like saying before it's too late, especially in
Yeah.
something that's not necessarily physically demanding. I mean, I'm not out here running a 40-yard dash here. I'm playing video games and making jokes. So, but just something that we wanted to try, um, so that she could, I, I guess, return the favor in some ways. Be there to support something that I wanted to chase.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, why not? Why not? Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I've been talking about it for a long time. And I said, I'm gonna be playing games anyway. This is my hobby. This is what I do for fun. I'm gonna still hang out with my friends. I'm gonna still play these games. Let's throw a camera on. If nothing else, in the maybe we find a few people to hang out with. Maybe we find a few new gaming friends for our gaming circle. And it's never more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into much more than that. But at the time, that was just the intent. It was just, let's just bring our brand of, I guess if we call it energy, I think we're
You
fairly
can call it
entertaining.
entertainment. I'd be
We
comfortable with that phrase.
we can just kind of put that out there and see if and see if anyone else likes it. that's kind of how it happened.
So when you started streaming, how many days were you streaming to start with? Like
Too many.
what was that like?
I too many.
Oh
I,
god.
I I'm pretty sure. Well, I had to get past stream one
Uh-huh.
because stream one, I stared at that go live button for about a half hour. I mean, I'm
It's
sitting
scary
here.
sometimes.
Oh, I was sitting here with all the stuff that I bought. I had everything set up, everything was tested, everything was ready to go, and I'm like frozen. And it's like I can't imagine. Now, I wasn't by myself. Dell and I were playing World of Warcraft, so I
Hmm.
knew. And I tell him often, I a lot. He was a huge part of me settling in the first 3 months because he was there for just about every stream and he was on voice for just about every stream and we were playing games. I've always been a multiplayer guy, so I for me it's more fun when you play with people.
Hmm.
Um, so once I got past that first stream, I'm pretty sure I streamed 13 days in a row. I mean, I know that there's lots of other people that do that much more, but it wasn't. It was too much.
So
Um,
13 days in a row? Did I
yeah,
hear that right?
yeah, it was too much. It
Oh
was too
my
much.
goodness.
It was new. It was fun. It was exciting. Like I said, as soon as I got past stream one, it was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I just want more. It was just like a rush of that was really fun. That was really cool. I just want to do it again. And so at the beginning, it was too much.
Yeah.
I got carried away with it, and it was too much. Eventually, I would say relatively early on, I settled into a 4-day a week schedule
Hmm.
because I am a researcher, an analyzer, and a studier at heart.
Hmm.
I crave and thrive on information and data. And so a lot of the information I saw early on was make schedule, don't make it every day,
Hmm.
and try to leave pockets for you. My life demanded that I left pockets. And then when Leyrena started streaming, that kind of also helped form the schedule a little bit because I said, I'm not gonna stream over her. We're gonna work out a schedule to where we're kind of alternating here. So in the beginning it was too much. It was too often, but I'd say by January of 2019, I want to say, I was settled into pretty close to the 4-day schedule that I've kept ever since.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around the 13 days straight still. Jeez.
I I don't know. It was just I wanted to do it. I wanted to play it. It was around
And were you
we were
working
getting close to
full
Christmas time.
time when you did?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But and again,
Dear
when I'm
Lord.
saying 13 days, I mean it wasn't it was
Okay, so
maybe
how long
3
were the
hours, 4 hours.
streams? Yeah.
Not long. I mean, if well, I don't know if you classify 3 to 4 hours not long. I generally, unless it's a special, like either a special event of some kind, um, either a charity thing or a WoW Classic thing is the most recent example where I just go 12 hours and don't realize it. Um, Other than that, I'd say I hold pretty close to 4-ish hours. So I know in to some that's not that long. Um,
So how many hours a day are you working, if you don't mind me asking? Like what's your
9. So usually about 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
okay. And then so on average, how many hours are we looking at a week? Because I know sometimes it's
On a stream right now, 16.
so 16 hours streaming.
Yep. I go
Okay.
4 hours a stream, 4 streams a week.
Okay. And how many hours a week would you say you spend doing we'll call them real life things? Because
Oh,
I
okay.
for the
Yeah.
people listening, I know you personally, so I know that you You have a very full plate, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
you can give the listeners a bit of perspective here.
Oh, where are we at here? 168 hours a week, so just 168 minus 45 minus 16. That
Yeah.
the rest. Give me like 5 hours of sleep a night, and there you go.
Oh gosh. So I know you have your stream. I know Lorena sometimes, who for those listening is his wife, also streams.
Yep,
I know your daughter does softball.
she does. She does
Okay.
travel softball, yes.
Okay, and then
Which anyone who's familiar with travel sports understands the commitment of that.
yes, and then your son also does something, if I remember correctly.
He did wrestling
Yes.
last year. We're kind of having discussion about that. I don't know that he's going to continue with that out of his own choice, but
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to find something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is
Well,
important. He
yeah.
needs to do something. Yeah, that's I've always told them. I don't really, I don't want to say I don't care, because
Yeah.
I care very very much. But it doesn't matter to me what they do, just so long as they find something they care about and they're passionate about. I don't really care what it is. If it's sports, if it's music, if it's art, if it's theater, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Just find it and love it.
So I love that, by the way. Do you have downtime in your schedule ever? I know you
Um,
said you're working on average 5 hours of sleep. That's not a lot of sleep a night.
well, it's not a lot, and um, I don't travel much. I mean, I'm full work from home,
Hmm.
so that helps that immensely. If I was not full work from home, that would probably be different,
Were you
because I
full
have
work from home before COVID too?
I was 4 days a week from home.
Okay. I
I
know
I have
COVID
been
has changed everybody's working situation, so.
Well, the COVID thing is interesting because it not only gave me the fifth day from home, but it actually converted my job into a full remote going forward, because
Oh.
everybody realized, hey, we've been doing this remotely for this whole time. There's really no reason for us to come back in and deal with all these restrictions and all of these one person in the bathroom, one person in the elevator, wear a mask at your desk. Why? My boss is like, well, why would we do that? I agree. Why would we do
Why
that?
would we go in and risk everything when we can
This
just
is
work
a
from
great
home?
question. So that sort of changed that. But for the whole time I've been streaming, I've been primarily from home.
Hmm.
And that is a huge factor in me even being able to stream in the first place, because it cut out all that travel time. It
Hmm.
lets me at home, so that while my wife is teaching, I can steal away some time to do a little laundry, to do some dishes, to tidy the house a little bit, to make sure the dog doesn't go through the window.
Hmm.
I can handle the household things, so that in the evenings, we can actually either do the family things, or I actually have enough accomplished in the day that I don't feel guilty about taking a few hours to myself.
Do you find that even though now you have some of that time that at your home, do you find that you have a hard time balancing your streamer life with all of the requirements of being a full-time employee and being a husband and being a dad and all of that? Or do you think you've got a good handle
Um,
on I know it's like hanging on by your pinkies like you said, but um
yeah.
how do you
So
feel about the balance of it all?
so I am very um first I very much separate my work from my streaming. The
Mhm.
streaming is kind of its own entity. Like, I will passively mention that I stream, but I don't talk a lot about streaming at work. I don't talk a lot about streaming. Frankly, I don't talk a lot about streaming to the people that aren't in my streaming world, meaning
Mhm.
like the softball world. A lot of my some of my family knows, and I don't. It's not a matter of hiding it from them, but it's a way
Mhm.
for me to keep it separate.
Gotcha.
because certain things come first. Family stuff comes first
Mhm.
because that has to be taken care of, and that can't be sacrificed. What it ultimately comes down to is what what is going to go on the chopping block first if just things just hit the fan and something needs to be taken care of.
Mhm.
Work has to be taken care of because that's what pays the bills. Family has to be taken care of because that's way more important than just about everything else.
Mhm.
So I can kind of compartmentalize a lot of this stuff into separate sections. Um, my personal life with everything that's going on, everything that I'm involved in personally, um, kind of dictates the stream schedule in a way
Mhm.
because it's the end of the evening when I have you never finished, but I've finished my day as a worker, as a dad, as a everything that I need to do, all my other responsibilities.
Mhm.
And then end of the day, the streaming truly is a me time. Um, I am fortunate in a lot of ways with my job, in that my job is a Monday to Friday, 9 hour a day, well, 8 hour a day with lunch, but a 40-hour a week job that I do not take with me after 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
And I could, because it's a global company. Things are going on all the time. I have two coworkers in India. There's things going on from 3 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's always things going on, but not for me.
Mhm.
And I don't mean and I don't mean that to sound cold, but to me, it is very important to draw that line
Mhm.
because you will have me at my max for my work hours, and this will be done. But my work is not my life. My work is my job. I feel very fulfilled by
Mhm.
my work because I know what my work does and what my work provides, not only for me and my family, but the other people out there getting jobs
Mhm.
and all of that. So it's very important stuff. But my work is not my life. My life is my life. My work allows me to have my life. So that lets me kind of mentally separate those things um in my day. I have my work time, I have my family time. It's like my days flow.
Mhm.
I have my work time in the morning, and then I have my family time in the late to early evening, and then I have my time for streaming at the end of the day.
So, would you say that you find that your job helps you as a streamer then, rather than say hinders you because you don't bring things home, you aren't necessarily limited in what you can say and do on stream?
Oh well,
Or are you? It's
that
different
well,
for
that changed the
everybody.
answer to the question then.
Yep. It
Um,
does it does depend on the job. I know some people limit what is said and what is done on their stream because,
sure.
you know, uh if
I
work were to see their content.
Well, Reyna deals with that a lot, and
Yes.
being a teacher. So,
Mhm.
I my limitations on my stream are personal choices that have nothing to do with my job.
Mhm.
Um, but I also would feel a little strange if people I worked with were regular viewers.
So if your
I
coworkers
would
just
feel
came in and were like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
yeah,
Like,
I
this
well,
is
and I
Twitch.
well, and to the point where I compartmentalize it so much that I have a cousin who drops by. I have a couple of real life friends who I've known, just long time. I tell them ahead of time. I had people associated with Leyrena's football team.
Mhm.
Um, we don't use real names.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. And I tell them, cool, come on in, hang out. That's fine. Do the thing. Be careful. Be careful what
Oh,
you say
yeah.
and be careful how you say it
Mhm.
because this is a line. This is a very separating line. And it's not a shame thing. It's a
Mhm.
mental way for me to separate these different areas of what I'm doing. It's definitely not a matter of shame. I mean, if my family they find out about, oh yeah, oh you're streaming, yeah, sure, oh, it's over here. I may have posted things about my stream one time on my personal Facebook in 2 years, and then I didn't do it again. And just because to me, it's like that's a separate section of life. Um,
Absolutely.
I would say that my job helps in the sense that I don't have I'm very fortunate in a lot of ways with my work, with the schedule, with what I do, with how I'm viewed at my job as somebody who is dependable, reliable, gets things done, and is good to have on the team. I'm in a spot where I don't, if I'm not working anymore, it's because it's 100% budgetary and massive, massive cuts that the company couldn't do anything about. It's not
Mhm.
because of anything I did.
Mhm.
That mentality is freeing to
Mhm.
me because I don't have to worry about, spend my time worrying about my job. I just do my job. And it strikes this work-life balance that so much of my life is made possible by not having to worry about my work. Just doing my work, being appreciated at my work for what I do, being compensated well enough to be able to live, the life that we want to, and just not have to worry about that. Lack of worry is freeing in so many ways.
It's interesting. You brought up the name thing. I know so many. I want to talk about your lack of worry too. I'm
Mhm.
trying to keep my brain train
Sure, sure, sure.
running. Um, I know so many streamers that are comfortable like putting their names like in things, and I don't know. For me, that's always been a line too. Like there's just something private about your name and like how it can give people power by knowing it. I know that sounds
Sure.
like so over dramatic, but um I don't know. I feel like I relate a lot to that, like having like that separation there and
I
knowing that
can
there's a distinct different person almost.
I can give two great examples of the whole name thing. When I went to Gen Con this past year,
Mhm.
um, we ended up Brenna and I ended up rooming with a friend that we met through streaming. I didn't know him
Mhm.
beforehand. I actually met him through another 20-year mutual friends stream.
Mhm.
Um, because there's been a couple of us, myself, Dalthanor Kajari is another. Kajari actually kind of got me the big nudge forward to actually start streaming. I don't feel like I properly gave her credit on that because she started doing D&D terrain crafting, and she's a mom of I think 6,
Oh wow.
and um she's a little older than I am, but she was a professional. She that had just transitioned to being more from home. Um, but it was like, man, if she can do it, then what are you waiting for? But um, but uh, we met this fella through her stream, and when we decided we were going to go to Gen Con, we said, well, let's share costs and let's just go ahead and split a hotel room with the three of
Mhm.
us. We didn't meet him before then, but I don't know. We were like, okay, I'm not. I didn't feel weird about it. For like some people, I might have felt weird about it. I didn't really feel weird about it with him.
Mhm.
When we met for the first time, we took a moment to introduce ourselves by our actual names,
Mhm.
because it's like at that point, it's like we're here face to face. We're going to be splitting a hotel room. Let me at least introduce myself as who I am.
Mhm.
Now, for the rest of the weekend, and I told him, "You call me either one. I don't care. I'll answer to either one." Um, and the other end of it is with Dell. Like I had mentioned.
Good night.
Oh, I have to take 10 seconds before I answer this. Good night, son. It,
Oh.
you gotta okay. You gotta get to bed, okay?
Got one 2 days ago.
Well, you need to shower more than every third day, son. Thank you. All right, get to bed. Love you. I'll see you in the morning.
Mom.
Anyway,
That's amazing. Ah, yes,
uh,
son. You actually
yes,
do need to shower.
yes.
This is the
Uh,
secret of the adult life is
I, I'm
showering.
I'm just saying I just took a shower 2 days ago is not a positive argument for you. That's not how that works.
Oh.
Um, but but anyway, but Dell, again, he's somebody I've been playing since I met in EverQuest in '99. He was at our wedding. Um, so he we actually no, we met him a couple of times offline before Leroy and I got married. But he was at the wedding and we had met him a few times. Since we started streaming, since I started streaming 2 years ago, he's never referred to me by my real name on stream, not one time, because he respects the boundary.
That's
And he
awesome.
knows it, and he's been around, and he's been a big part of my life in many different avenues for the past 20 plus years. He's never called me by my real name, either on stream or even off stream Discord nights when other people in the community are in the chat channel. He's
Hmm.
never done it once because he respects the boundary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So back to the you have the no worries
Yes.
from work thing. It's interesting. The more and more I talk to people who work full time and also stream, I'm finding that a lot of them really find such a joy in content creation that if they could, they would go full time, like as a the full time content creator, if you would. But
Mhm,
it sounds like you really enjoy what you do. Do you
mhm.
think that you would, and again we're talking hypotheticals here, like yes, like you wouldn't have to deal with the, the stress of am I going to make enough for bills each month, like if we took that away, if it was just the act itself of full-time content creation,
Mhm.
um would you be interested in that for yourself, or
Mm. I
I know it's a
I
tricky one. I know
it is.
realistically, like, it's hard to not consider, oh, well, full time content creation, it's not guaranteed income. There's no insurance. There's no, this, that, and
Yeah.
the other thing, and you have a family. But just the act itself of creating full time, is that something
I
that appeals to you, or
I don't think so.
yeah?
I don't think so. I feel like the way I've built my schedule in a very specific manner
Mm-hmm.
that the only time I go back to back is Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I've always one other all the other time is one day on, one day off. Um, I need to not be on sometimes.
Yeah.
I just need to not, and it's not a visual thing. I mean, it's not a matter of, I don't want to, get everything all set up, get the lights, get the look, and get the everything. Sometimes I just don't want to be on.
Mm-hmm.
I
No, I
just
get
need
that.
to
Absolutely.
kind of decompress a little bit. Um, I I don't I'm doing stuff. I'm playing games a lot of nights. I'm playing games offline when I'm not streaming. I mean I'm gonna be gaming and I'm gonna be doing that kind of stuff anyway, but I don't know that I would want to do every day. I mean, even if it was to the point where that was my income, that was paying my bills.
Mm-hmm.
I
Do you think the burnout for you would be really real if you went
I
full time?
think it could be. I
Mm-hmm.
worry that it could be because this is this is just very much something that I use as I don't want to say it's an escape because it's really not. I'm not really escaping from a whole lot. It's just this is what I would be doing, and it's a running theme with my stream, and why I always tell folks that this isn't, who I am on stream is not a get up, it's not a put on. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I am, and this is what I would be doing anyway. And I tell folks that I remember saying that a lot when I first started streaming. I
Mm-hmm.
said, this is what I would be doing anyway. I would be sitting online playing some kind of MMO with some friends, running through dungeons, doing stuff. I'd be saying the same stuff. I might be cursing a little bit more. I'll give you that. But outside of that, this is what I'm doing. So I'm not escaping anything. This is what I do. This is just kind of part of what it is. I would maybe be worried that the need to put something out there every day would make it not organic. I mean, it would make it like I'm trying to put something together to impress other people.
Hmm.
I'm trying to put on a show. I'm trying super hard to be really entertaining. There's some nights I'm trying really hard to kind of make it interesting, but in a lot of ways this is just what I would do. So I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to steer my content creation into something that isn't true to
Hmm.
what I would normally be doing anyway. And I don't say that because I'm trying to be I'm
Yeah.
lazy and
No,
not
no,
into
no.
my content. This
I
is
get it.
it's the genuine nature of things, I believe, has led me to my modest level of what I would call success. Because I think that I like to believe that a lot of people, um, they get that this is just who I am, that I'm a real guy and this is my real attitude, my real personality, and this
Hmm.
is just kind of who I am and what I do.
Do you ever feel yourself, and I know it's notorious for it on Twitch and on Twitter. Do you ever find yourself like, given that this is like fun for you, given that this is like you said, not your escape, but like your outlet, basically. Do you ever find yourself in that cycle of like looking at your numbers and looking at the analytics and letting yourself get sort of like swept up in all of that, or do you truly just enjoy the ride for what it is?
So this is where there may be a little bit of inconsistency in the this is what I would do anyway kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, I look at my numbers every stream,
Mm-hmm.
every stream. I have a couple of people that I talk with in DMs about trends and
Uh-huh.
about things and about this is responding, this isn't responding. This One of the most recent ones was when I slid up my time a little bit because I was running 8 to midnight, and I would go through trends and wow, that last hour is really nobody's around that last hour. Okay, well this may be a really good example maybe. Um, so I was 8 to midnight,
Mm-hmm.
and the last hour was a bit of a ghost town. So, and it's okay. I love everybody who's there. Let's just get that out of the way. I love
Yeah,
everybody who's
no, no,
there.
this is no judgment. I think
Let's just be real
I
about
think
that. So
we
the
make
last
it
hour,
very taboo to talk about numbers, and it needs to not be because it's a part
yeah.
of what streaming
And,
is.
and honestly, there are very few people that I feel comfortable talking about numbers with because of that reason. It's like an ever present thing overhead that
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to talk about,
Well,
or everybody wants to talk
and
about, but you don't want to get the person you're talking to upset about it because maybe you're doing a little bit better than they're doing, and you don't want to come off as, oh God, I
yeah, but
barely have anything, and they're
you
like, well, I have even less.
I talked about it in another episode that I believe will go live before yours, and I mentioned how we've kind of put these unnecessary rules and restrictions on ourselves as streamer. There's no written rule anywhere that says you can't talk about numbers. And I think
Mhm.
Twitch needs more of an openness and an honestness to it. Um, so I think it's great that you do sit down and talk with somebody about it without
Yeah,
worrying about the stigma. So I just
yeah.
wanted to put that out there. You don't have to apologize or worry about
And
any of
it
that.
isn't a word that I immediately feel like I have to, like,
Well, because we do, we
immediately.
guilt ourselves into that. We miss a stream, we feel guilty. We talk about our numbers, we
Mhm,
feel guilty. We hit a milestone that our friend maybe hasn't hit yet, we feel guilty. It's like
mhm.
we are constantly guilting ourselves instead of celebrating our joys.
Yeah.
So I'm
Um,
sorry for the tangent.
no, I think it's an important one. But I was at a 8 to midnight,
Hmm.
and the last hour was just really underperforming in terms of chatting, viewership, things like that. So then I thought, okay, well, I gotta do something here. So maybe I should slide an hour earlier. And then, so we're not starting at 8, we're starting at 7. I'm still doing my 4-hour stream, but we stop before the 11 p.m. drop off. And all of my numbers have shown me, for me, the 11 p.m. drop off is real.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that idea, and then now I have to go answer to my life about it. Because the reason I started at 8 was because at the time in 2018, my son went to bed at 8 o'clock and my daughter went to bed at 8:30. So it was, okay, you can stream, one kid's in bed, one kid's on the way to bed. Everybody's sleeping and winding down for the night, so I'm not interrupting anything. Well, now he's going to bed at 9 and she's going to bed at 9:30. So they're up a full hour when I start at 8 anyway. What's the difference if they're up 2 hours and I just slide it to 7?
Mm-hmm.
So any of these changes in the streaming, I have to check against the other things that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I did that, okay, yes, I can manage this with the kids, everything's fine. Then yeah, I could slide that earlier, and then I absolutely watch the numbers. I watch for days of the week, times, the games that I play, um, the types of things that I'm doing. When we were doing marbles for a while, when we were doing co-op with Lorena for a while, um, I'm always looking at that
Mm-hmm.
kind of. I am a data and number freak. Numbers and math make sense to me. So, and
So,
I know that it's I can allow it to make sense to me, and I can allow it to help provide me some direction because I don't allow it to assign me worth.
there's the key.
So, because I know that it's just simply those numbers are not tied to my worth as a person and my my draw or whatever as a creator, I can look at it analytically and just see, hey, look, just some people just aren't into this. And that's okay. All right. So what do we do? How do we change it?
So do you have and I love that you understand that it doesn't tie to your worth. I wish
It can't.
more content creators
It
were
just
were
can't.
aware that their numbers didn't define how valuable they were as a person.
Well,
Um,
but and I think part of that though is because streaming in general doesn't define me as a person.
mhm,
And the content creation itself doesn't define me as a person. And I think maybe some of that is probably tied to the fact that I'm a bit older. I've been through, a little bit longer. I'm in a different life setup
mhm,
than I would imagine the vast majority of streamers out there. I mean, been married 17 years. I have 2 kids. I've had the same job for 16 years.
mhm,
I have stability that a lot of creators don't have. So it puts me in a different mindset. I totally can understand how some people, and it's scary when
mhm,
you see it, when you see people tie their self-worth to people being around and seeing and absorbing their content and how they respond to it and how they get caught up in reactions to, the way people take their stuff and how they react and how they respond to it. It's scary seeing folks get caught up in that a little bit too much, and I feel
mhm.
for that. And I hope that over time that they can just get a little bit more, just a little bit more secure with themselves. And sometimes that just comes with time. Sometimes.
Time and experience, right?
Uh,
So do you have, since you are constantly looking at those numbers and evaluating and keeping a good read on what's working and what's not working, do you have like goals that you set for yourself for your channel? And how do you balance trying to achieve those while also, as you said, working around life and bowing to life a bit?
yeah, and that's hard. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
difficult trying to because I don't know that I have that specific goal anymore. I've had two goals really over. I speak a lot in terms of milestones. I
Mm-hmm.
also have trouble completing sentences, as I'm sure you've picked up at this point. Mind work. Um, I work a lot in milestones with my streaming. Like I've never said I have a 200 follower goal.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized the 200, 300, 400 followers as milestones that we pass. So because I don't want to assign something as like, okay, this is the finish line. This
Mm-hmm.
is what we're getting to. This is where I'm trying to get to. I would rather just acknowledge it as we go past it to hello, thank you, Ringer. I would rather just acknowledge it as something that we pass along the way to the next milestone. I've really only had two goals. Um, and one was qualifying for the stream team, for the
Uh-huh.
old TK stream team,
Mm-hmm.
and one was qualifying for Stream Raiders,
Oh,
because
wow.
those were the only thing that I wanted to achieve that had a hard CCV tied to it.
I
Everything else has just been like, as we go, we just kind of acknowledge these things as we go. Um, so it feels weird to say it right now because like right
mm-hmm.
now, if you ask me what's my goal in terms of metrics as a streamer,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, not necessarily metrics, just in general. Do you have like a goal for growth? Do you have a goal for like games you want to try? Just like in general, where do you want the channel to go?
So I've recently shifted focus to almost primarily Final Fantasy 14 content.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been a single game streamer since Destiny 2, very early on, like November, December 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 2 carried me for like the first 7 months of streaming. Um, but I've shifted to more of a single game focus with Final Fantasy. Um, I would always like to see just kind of a steady growth in that space. Um, I know that dealing with MMOs in a streaming capacity can always be kind of tricky,
Mm-hmm.
but I've seen people out there succeed and make it work. But it's the same sort of trouble I have when people would ask me, "Hey, do you ever want to make partner?"
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I would want to. Like people are like, well, what can you imagine what it'll be like if you ever made partners? Like, well, I mean, other than getting some more emotes, what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
And I always have a hard time answering that as the why. Why do you want this? I don't know. I don't and so when we talk about growth of the channel, well, why would we want, do we want growth of the channel? Sure, that would be nice. Why? I don't know. I mean, there's some inherent there's always a sense of if you're engaging and entertaining, more people are going to be around. There's always a sense of that. But because I have so harshly divided my stream performance from my sense of self-worth, it's like it helps me take a really analytical look at things
Mm-hmm.
and just really really break down to this responds in this way, this leads to that, and things like that. I would certainly like to grow in the Final Fantasy 14 space. I'm really really falling in love with the game
Mm-hmm.
so much, and it took 3 times to get there. I've quit the game twice before, but I've really just fallen in love with it right now. And there's so much, not only is there so much to do in it, but there's so much opportunity to bring other people in. There's literally functions within the game where you get bonuses for helping other people, lower level people, do things they haven't done before.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
that's really cool stuff that I would
Take
like
notes,
to.
WoW, please.
I'd very much, as a WoW beta baby, it is kind of hurtful for me to speak so glowingly of something that isn't WoW, but I'd like to. I've been very happy with what I've built over the last 2 years, and in a lot of ways, what I've put together is kind of snuck up on me a little bit. Like it created a it filled a social void that I didn't even know that I had.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is probably due to being so busy with work, with life, with being a dad, with managing just everything, keeping a house, making sure that doesn't fall apart, taking care of animals, taking care of the sports stuff for the kids, for my wife, for, you know, just taking care of all of these little things that life throws at.
Mhm.
You just you don't realize you've gone a month and you haven't talked to any of your friends.
It's
And when I mean your
crazy, right?
friends,
How easily that happens without you realizing.
I've got a 35 text string with my best friend from elementary school that we were on a group message, the two of us in Reyna about some stuff with his house and some plans stuff. He sent it a day and a half ago and I still haven't responded to it because I'm so busy with doing all of this other stuff. And it's like it's so easy to get caught up in the everyday that I didn't even know that I was not getting any kind of social fulfillment at all until I started streaming and until I started meeting people and started having conversations with, and people started coming back and people started, joining the Discord, talking in between streams and, showing up again and, hey, how's this? Hey, how's this person? Hey, how'd your test go? Hey, how'd that job interview go? And it's like, it, it's these, and I don't, I've had in the MMO space that I've been in between EverQuest, World of Warcraft, and things like that. Um, it's not like they haven't been names on a screen for 20 years. I know these people. I've talked to them. I know their names. I know their kids' names. I've played with their kids when they've grown up, and
Oh,
now they're playing the game too. So I know them as people. These aren't just names on screens.
they're
I
real
know
life
them as people.
humans.
They always have been.
Mhm.
But for that to move over to the streaming space is like I didn't expect it.
Mhm.
And so when I look at, it's easier to talk about goals in some ways in a metric sense
Mhm.
because in just the open kind of just broad terms of what do you want for your channel, what do you want for your stream, your community, your content creation portfolio, in a lot of ways I have it. I have what I want.
That's
You know,
awesome.
I've created a space where I can play with friends, where I can socialize with people who care about me, that I care about them, and we can share our common love and common interest for the games that we play. In a lot of ways, I've and that's why it's easier to talk about milestones than goals, because in a lot of ways I've hit my goals.
Mhm.
This is what I wanted.
That's You're making me so happy. Like like it just makes me happy for you that you have like an outlook like that. I feel like I wish I could give that to some people who are kicking themselves right now because they are working full time. They are, balancing a family on top of that or, whatever it is.
Oh,
And they feel like they're not measuring up to these other streamers. And I feel like maybe if we took a step back and measured our successes instead of our goals, that may be
I
a great place for people to start feeling better.
in the terms of, making streaming work within, the whole tapestry of life. Um, yeah, I started 2 years ago. I would not have been able to start 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I it took a long time to get here. I we did the lose my job 8 days after our wedding thing.
Oh,
We
wow.
did the spent all our wedding money paying bills for 2 months before we had to move out of our apartment thing. We did the let's live in my father and stepmother's basement for 7 months while trying to look for some kind of tech job that doesn't exist in the area that we were living, and having a father who was an electrician, a union electrician, always working with his hands, not understanding you don't go door to door with resumes for IT jobs. That's not how it
Oh,
worked.
Dad.
Working midnight shifts at a toll booth uh, while going to night school to pay bills, while your wife is working as a front desk clerk at the YMCA and at a daycare and at doing tutoring, online tutoring, while going to grad school so that she could be a teacher, because she realized after 4 years of college she wanted to be a teacher. So but we did that. We did the working in the back of a Lowe's building grills to pay bills. We did the 14 months at a call center trying to tell people to reboot their computer over and over and over again. We did the wife working at a charter school for 10 years for barely above, not less than a lot less than she deserved, and to be made to be made that they made her feel like she wasn't not only worthy as a teacher but worthy as a person, to give up her career almost. This was all up until about 2016. My one friend from elementary school that I referenced earlier, we had to get a townhouse with him because we couldn't afford to pay our own bills. We didn't live together on our own after we got married for 2 years because we did what we had to do. And we knew eventually it will get easier. And it took about 15 years to get easier.
I am praying it does not take Slice and I 15 years.
And I honest to God, I hope not. But where we are here, to go through all of that, it's easy to talk about it now. It wasn't so easy 5 years ago. But now to be able to sit here and, say everything that have the sense of accomplishment and stability with life, to be able to provide for my kids, to do the things that I couldn't do, to be able to say 2 days ago, I just paid off my car, things like that, to be able to say, hey, my kids can go to a birthday party because they live in the same district that they go to school. They're not riding an hour and a half with their mom to the school that she teaches at. To be able to do these things, it took a long time to get here. And so when people hear, when I talk a lot about my story and my journey to get to here, a lot of people are like, wow, man, you really got it together, and you got this is good and that's good, and this is a really cool story. 15 years to get here. So yeah, it's good now, but just trust that in a lot of ways, I'm about 10 years ahead at least of a lot of people that are in this game. And I just hope that you just can't give up. You have to. I would always, no matter what, I always say a lot. Whenever somebody wants to do something positive, say something positive, I have always tell them, speak it into the world. Speak it into the world. Say it out loud. What you want to accomplish, what you believe is going to happen. And a whole lot of times it's not going to happen. But you continue to speak the good into the world and just put it out there. It will happen. It may not happen quickly, and that's okay. It may take some time. That's all right. It will happen. Speak your good into the world.
It's
And
interesting that you brought us to this place. I almost don't even want to ask you now. Our closing question is almost always, do you feel that your life is harmonized? And and while I can kind of think about your answer, the next step is, what advice, and especially I would love to hear this answer from you, given that you do have all of this experience that you just shared. What advice would you give to someone who does work full time, and maybe in this case who is also a family person but really wants to get into streaming and just feels like it's not possible for them? What advice would you give them to finding that balance and realizing that it is a thing that can be done, just in a different way than necessarily the norm?
So my my life is a chaotic harmony. My life is a dissonant third. It's um I think I've struck a really good balance with things. I think that for the life I lead and the things I do and the things I'm involved with, I think I do about the best that I can to hold everything together. Um People may look at it from the outside and see just kind of chaotic twirly, but in a lot of ways things have really just kind of fallen into place exactly how I intended. I like the busy. I like the sort of chaotic nature of things. Um I always tell people when they ask why I knew Reyna was the perfect person for me, I
Mm-hmm.
always say because I never have a boring day. Every day is
Oh.
different. Every day, I don't exactly know what's going to happen, but it's always different. It's never boring, and I'm all the way there for it. I don't like leading a by the letter, by the book kind of existence. So the craziness that I always talk about, even trying to schedule this, is like, well, I've got this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
That works. So that's kind of my happy place. Um, in terms of advice to give others looking to achieve, I think a lot of that revolves around setting a proper, I don't want to say proper because proper is different for everyone, but setting a goal that doesn't put you in a place that you just can't get there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use other people's successes and other people's achievements and what other people have developed as a baseline for yourself. You just have to be realistic with yourself and realistic with your time available. There are plenty of people. It's easy to see the big people. It's easy to see the big number streamers. It's easy to see folks with thousands of viewers streaming 7 days a week. It's easy to find them. There are still people out there that are making a living doing this with a reasonable schedule. You don't have to stream every day. You don't have to stream 10 hours a day to make it work. You can make it work, but you have to set, maybe your goalposts are a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what you can consider success and achievement is a little bit different. You thinking I'm going to get 5,000 subs this month. Well, I mean, that may not be realistic, at least not
what
right
do
now.
what do they call it? SMART goals, right?
That's so
Something
important.
measurable, achievable. I don't remember what all the letters stand for, but it's an acronym.
It, it's so important to just slow and steady sort of stuff. Don't give up before you've even started. And you can be I've still in a lot of ways have still just started. And I've been doing it for 2 years. But there's a lot of just, this isn't working, I'm going to change this. This isn't working, I'm going to change this. It's like you can change stuff and you can move stuff around, but don't knee jerk. Trust yourself, trust your ability, set a reasonable achievable milestone. Start thinking of things not so much as a finish line and just start thinking of it as landmarks that you pass on your way through. It takes a lot of the stress off. It takes a lot of the pressure that you put yourself under. I'm sitting here, as it is right now, I'm very aware that I have 880 followers right now. I am very aware of that. I am not Oh my God, I'm close to 900. Oh my God, it's right around the corner. Oh my God, it's right there. Oh my, we didn't get any new follows. Oh, there's one follow. Oh, but somebody else unfollow. We will acknowledge 900 when we get there, and we're gonna have fun with Final Fantasy. And that's just how that's gonna be. So it's in some ways I feel almost somewhat unqualified to answer the question of, striking
Harmony.
well, striking the balance of achieving in a content creation world, because I feel like my picture of achievement is different from a lot of people who would look to make this a full-time thing, to make this something that they make their livelihood on.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, my just my whole streaming everything is so much, it's about the intangible stuff so much more. So it's a little bit of an awkward thing for me to try to give advice on something that I may not necessarily be pursuing myself. But
Well,
if you set your, the goal you're trying to achieve is being happy in a content creation space and being, comfortable with what you're putting out there and finding, some social interactions, some true friends out there who will be there for you in your bad times, because it's real easy to be there in your good times.
mm-hmm.
The folks who will be there in your bad times, you can do that. You can do that and still have a job, full-time job, have full-time parental responsibilities, full-time coaching stuff, full-time other stuff, and still be fulfilled in a content creation space. You just got to speak it into the world.
Speak it into the world, everybody. Speak it into the world. Reynic, thank you so much. This has been super awesome. I'm glad we got a cameo from your son in there too.
I'm actually kind of worried that we haven't got one for my daughter yet. That means she's 13 minutes past bedtime.
Uh-oh. Well,
As she walks out here right now.
Well, if anybody listening wants to catch Reynic, you can find him at twitch.tv/REYNIC. Gonna spell it out for everybody, because we know how well people spell nowadays.
Oh yeah.
It has been an absolute pleasure. I super appreciate you coming by. I hope you have all of the fun in Final Fantasy and enjoy the rest of softball season. Or is it over? Has it started?
We are
I don't
just
know.
getting started.
Oh boy. Well,
We're just now getting started.
well, good
And
luck
I
with
think
that.
this is super cool that you're taking this on. I
Oh,
think this is
thank
very
you.
neat. I am looking forward to future episodes. I
Thank you
think that
so
this
much.
is a important topic for people, because I think that it's I think it's real easy to get out of just out of balance
Mm-hmm.
with things, and just you gotta be able to keep your life, your sanity, and your just general happiness is always number one priority, no matter what it has to be. And so I
That
think
is
it's
the
a great
goal.
feature.
And if we can help one listener with this, then I am happy indeed.
I love it.
Thank you so much. You enjoy. Tell your daughter we said goodnight. And
She's seriously right here. Come here. Tell me goodnight. Love you. Get to bed.
Wait.
No, not wait. What? Am I proud of you because of your grades? Yes, I'm proud of you because of your grades.
oh,
Yes. Okay. But now you gotta go to bed. Who's that? That's Kitty. Would you like to say hello to Kitty?
Hello, Kitty.
Hang on.
hello.
Here.
Goodbye.
There you go.
For what?
There you go. Go ahead. Say hello.
Hi, Kitty.
Hi.
There you go.
Ooh.
We're just chatting about how I can manage the stream while dealing with you.
Wow.
Oh, dad burns.
Hey, she gets her own scene. She
Oh.
gets when she's not failing classes, she gets her own scene. Listen,
Since I'm not failing.
I know you did much better, so you'll get to do your shout outs again. She gets her little red shout out cam.
Oh.
where
Oh.
she got to design it herself, where she gets to say goodnight to one person in the chat every night. And it has developed into as soon as she shows up and the camera comes on, people in the chat start telling her goodnight so that she sees their name and might get the shout out from her. So,
That's amazing.
so that's
I
cute.
love that.
Also,
And
I have my catcher picture.
yes, you do have your catcher picture. That's true. And then
It's a
Professor
very,
has
very
his
good picture.
cheesy joke cam, where he has literally a box of cheesy jokes that look like cheese slices.
Oh
And
my lord.
he
I love that
tells
you've got your kids built into your stream. That's
we
fantastic.
built it's well, but that's their life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna pretend like, you know, my kids and my wife and my life is not actually happening. So I know she needs to go to bed. I'm getting yelled at. Actually, she's getting
Okay.
yelled
Well, I'll let you all
at.
go to bed. Well, maybe not you, but
Not
thank
me.
you.
She's got to get out of
Yeah.
here. So
Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
thank you for asking me to chat.
Thank
I
you
had a
for
blast.
agreeing to. Enjoy. Have a great evening. Bye, everybody.